Hello, makeup lovers! If you have been shopping with Megawatt Beauty for a little while, you have probably already mastered your 3D foundation for Mascara Beauty. So you may be thinking about getting ready to move on to something a little more glam and a little more extra. So I wanted to give you a little basics class today on bronzer and illuminator. So we have some options for bronzer and illuminator for Mascara Beauty. Everything again fits into your little compacts, and these compacts come free with the purchase of a number of products. We have both cream and powder bronzer and cream and powder illuminator. My very favorite bronzer is called Bella Bronzer, and it's very universal. It is a cream bronzer. Then we have, I'm going to show you today, our cream illuminator, which is rose gold. And we also have a variety of powder illuminators. This one right here is called Glamazing. So as you can see, the powder illuminators are far more extra, more metallic and shiny and glam, whereas the cream illuminators are more subtle and really work beautifully for beginners or for people who don't necessarily wear a lot of makeup or wear really glam looks every day. So I'm going to show you our cream bronzer and cream illuminator today because it's a good place to start. I'm going to start out using my B-squared brush. This fluffy end of the B-squared brush is specifically formulated to be used with our cream bronzers. So this is a bronzer and blush brush. It's perfect for beginners. And I'm going to show you how to load up your brush with your Bella bronzer. So as opposed to our cream foundations, which I always preach to you, use a tiny amount of product, a little bit goes a long way. When it comes to the Bella bronzer, I'm going to preach to load up your brush and really get a good bronze because that's the kind of look that I like. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to spin it as I dip into my cream. This cream bronzer is going to last you forever because even though you're really trying to pick up a good amount of the product, you're still not using very much. A little bit of cream just goes such a long way. So I've got my brush all loaded up. What I don't want to do now with this brush is just go directly in one spot and load all of my product into one spot. What I do want to do is take it and disperse it pretty evenly around the places that I want it to go. I will say, however, that cream bronzer is very forgiving, and if you do end up depositing too much in one place, you can just blend it right out. It's very forgiving. It doesn't look cakey, it doesn't look makeup-y or show texture on your skin. So placement for bronzer, I would suggest for starting out is to do a semicircle around each side of your eye. Keeping away from the actual eye area, you want this area of your eye to be as minimal product as possible because we don't want to show texture in those little lines that are around our eyes. So keeping your bronzer on this section of the face, and I'm just going to dab my brush on each side and then just buff it out. I can certainly add more. I can add as much or as little bronzer as I want, but just for the purpose of this video, I'll just do a pretty subtle amount of bronzer. I can go across my nose right here, and I can go under my neck, down under my collarbone. I can certainly load up that brush again and give lots of nice color to the collarbone. So the purpose of bronzer in your overall makeup look is to warm up the high points of your face where your face would naturally get some sun. So unlike contour is meant to de-emphasize the places of your face where you place your contour, whereas bronzer is meant to warm up and give a glow, which is going to actually emphasize those areas. So when I put some bronzer on my cheekbones are going to look a little more plump, and when I go up here it's just going to look a little bit more warm into my hairline. There you go. There's your bronzer. Again, you can put on as much as you want. Some people, it's your personal preference how much bronzer you want to put on your face. Next, I'm going to show you our cream illuminator, and I'm going to use rose gold illuminator here. I'm going to use this tapered end of my 30-second heck brush. This is one that I already have on hand. I use this already for my contour, so we do have specific brushes for Mascara Beauty which work very, very beautifully with Illuminator, especially if you're going to go with a powder illuminator. We have beautiful brushes that work really well with that powder consistency. But for the cream, I'm going to use the brush that I already have on hand, and I'm just going to tap a small amount of that product onto that tapered end of my brush, and I'm going to apply my illuminator right here on the high part of my cheekbones, in right here under the arch of my brow, and in my tear duct. And if you like, you can go with a little bit of illuminator up here, also down the bridge of your nose, cupid's bow, and chin. That's generally where you would want to place some illuminator. It sounds like a lot, but really we just use a tiny, tiny amount, and it just gives ever so lightly a dewy look to those parts of the face. Again, my biggest tip with illuminator is to start with a small amount, and you can always add more. So just under the arch. When we were learning about makeup from like Cosmo magazine or like our CoverGirl eyeshadow trios, we would be putting our shimmer shadow all the way underneath the eyebrow. For a more current look, we can use our shimmery highlighter and just dab it right under the arch of the brow instead of going all the way. And then in the tear duct a little. The tear duct is just going to open up those eyes and brighten it up ever so slightly. We can put a little bit right here over the eyebrow, just for a little extra sheen, down the bridge of our nose. Just a tiny little bit of shimmer that gives us more of a dewiness than a sparkle, whereas the powder illuminators are very, very metallic and have more of a fleck of like sparkle, or not glitter, but just metallic sheen. And the cream illuminators just give you that little hit of dewiness. There you go. As always, if you have any questions, shoot me a message. This is just a very basic little class to get you started on your bronzer and illuminator, which as always are magnetic and fit into our magnetic customizable packs. Thanks for shopping with Megawatt Beauty.